Okay, yesterday, what did we learn yesterday? Now we're learning from the Dvar Malchut, the royal words of the Rebbe. It's a speech that the Rebbe gave in 1991. And he's talking about these spies that went into Israel. Now, the spies was a tremendous fiasco. How do they call it? A debacle. I used to think the word is debacle, but it's not. Debacle. I looked it up here. And it was it was a tremendous failure. Moses, the Jewish people got out of Egypt. God promised Abraham. He promised Abraham like 400 years later, your offspring are going to go into the land of Israel, the promised land. The land is flowing milk and honey, and there will be my revelation, everything. So God takes the Jews out of Egypt, and he takes them through the desert, and he gives them the Torah, and he takes them up to Israel, the border, and he said, here it is. I'm coming across with my promise to Abraham. You have not got that's why it's called the promised land, because God promised it to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. You got it. Here it is. Go in. So the Jewish people said, listen, let's send in some scouts just so that we'll, be really truly enthusiastic about going in. And Moses said, what do you say, God? And God said, whatever you want, do it. So Moses sends in these 12 scouts, and they come back. 10 of them say, what a land that you can't imagine the fertility of. Look at these grapes. Everyone said, oh, that's pretty good. And they said, but can you imagine what type of people eat these grapes? Hold the grape in your hand. Hold the grape in your hand, right? Now hold one of my grapes in your hand. The thing is like this big. Imagine, multiply, what's the ratio between a grape and a person, right? So this grape is like 50 times bigger than a regular grape. So the people are 50 times bigger than us. And everybody said, "Ooh, you didn't think about that." Okay, let's not go in. Everybody said, "Yeah, we're not going in. Good news, we're not going in." And Moses said, "What are you talking about? What do you mean you're not going in? Wow, this is great. We're not going in. No one's going in. We're not going to go. You want to go in? Go in, Moses." So the whole thing was a tremendous failure. Tremendous. And the Torah is not ashamed to. And God says, I'll wipe them all out. And Moses said, no, I don't wipe them all out. And God said, okay, so they'll wander around in the desert for 40 years. They're going to get what they wanted. They're not going to go in the land of Israel. And that's it. That was the punishment. It says the Rebbe, this is terrible. It's only bad. It says the Rebbe, okay, first of all, you're right. It was terrible. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But the job of Judaism is not to discover what's terrible. That you can do without Judaism. The job of Judaism is to discover what is good and to multiply the good. That's our job. Multiply the good. And along with that, you have a motivation to, how do you say, minimize the bad, eradicate the bad. But first of all, let's see what the alternative is. What good came out of it? So the Rebbe said, okay, I'm going to tell you two good things that came out of the spies. Number one, they came back and they told everybody how wonderful the land is. They showed everybody the fruits. Everyone knew that the land of Israel was a wonderful place. Wonderful place. Okay, they added in the other part. Let's not talk about that for a second. That everybody knows about. Land of Israel is a wonderful place, a fertile place, a place that's healthy. The people that grow there are big. Number one. Number two is that the job of the Jewish people was to make God revealed in the world. And the scouts began this. They were the first Jews from the Jewish nation to enter the land of Israel. They came into the land of Israel. They actually entered the land of Israel. That's what it means that they were kosher. It says when Moshe sent them, they were kosher. What does kosher mean? It says the Rebbe, the letters for kosher is kamotze shalal rav. It's a sentence in Psalms. Like a person that found a huge unexpected treasure. Not a treasure, I'm sorry, spoils of war. Shlal means the spoils of war. Right? You conquer a nation, you discover that they have huge wealth of diamonds and minerals and such a shalal. What's a shalal? That these scouts were the first ones to even approach the riches of Israel. And in this case, we're talking about the spiritual riches, as well as physical, but the spiritual riches. That's the idea of transforming the darkness of the world into light. Before that, there was no spirituality at all, no godliness at all revealed in the land of Israel. In the world, there was no godliness, only briefly when God gave the Torah. And the Jews wandering around in the desert, but that's not what God wanted. That wasn't really in the world. The desert was an uninhabitable place, and the Jews miraculously were there. It wasn't a permanent thing. God wants God to be revealed in the physical world. The whole world should be healthy, and that has to begin from the land of Israel. And that was begun by the scouts. When they went in, they were kosher. When they went in, before they got their negative ideas, they actually, the first 2 steps, let's say, they took in the land of Israel, that began the entering of the Jewish people into the land of Israel and the subsequent revealing of godliness in the whole world. There's 2 ways that these scouts of Moses and the scouts of Joshua, which Joshua, we said, only sent out 2 scouts and they were successful, how they joined together. So one way, we just finished saying that the scouts that Moses sent in, they were the first Jews to come in. So they broke the ice. The other way is they came back with a good report. They came back and they said that, there are really good things in the land of Israel. So that's how they connect the scouts of Moses and the scouts of Joshua. The scouts of Joshua, that's the haftarah of this Shabbat. How they connect one with the other. The sending that Moses sent of Moses, he sent 12 people, and the 2 people that Joshua sent in secret. Moses sent them out advertised and in the open, and Joshua sent out secret. How can we attach them like this? The Hektem Biur explaining that the sending of these 12 men that Moses sent in, each one for each tribe of the Jewish people, in order that each and every one should see his portion in the land of Israel. Let's not talk about the politics of it or the geography of it or the history of it. Just let's talk about the spirituality. What's eternal about this? Because Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, is divided into 12 parts. This corresponds to the 12 tribes. That's what it was in the time of up to the time of the first temple, up to the time of the end of the first temple. The land of Israel, which is about, 450 years, 850 years, the land of Israel was divided into tribes. Each tribe lived in his place. Benjamin lived only in Benjamin. Yehuda only in Yehuda. Akal shal shevet b'shevet, each and every tribe, b'mesilato yaleh, went up in his. It says also when the Jewish people, when they split the sea, also it says when they split the sea, it says it really didn't split like in the movies. It was split into one. It was really split into 12 channels. Each tribe went into his own channel. Shalakal shevet. So it was the land of Israel. Spiritually, each and every one of the tribes of Israel had a different way of serving God. One a little more emotionally, one more from fear, one more from love, one more for doing good deeds. They all did everything, but each one had his own special character. With a dugma, for instance, chalukat kalali, the general division of the Jewish people into the Yisachar of Zvulun. Generally speaking, you can divide the Jewish people in a general way to the 2 tribes of Yisachar and Zvulun. Yisachar learned Torah and Zvulun worked in the world. Yoshvei Oil, those who learned Torah, Ubali Esek, and those people who worked. Bali Mori and Mari Torah, the people who learned the Torah, masters of learning Torah, masters of doing good deeds. Alder says similarly, dividing the land of Israel into 12 tribes. Each one had its own nature. Ubehetem lakach, commensurate with this, there's also chelik echad miyot beit chalakim, one portion of the 12 tribes that it can only be refined, the land of Israel. That portion of land of Israel can only be refined, the ofen avoda, to the way of service of this particular tribe. But tziruf avoda, when you join all of the different tribes all together, Yachad Shiftei Yisrael, like it says, the uniting all of the Shiftei Yisrael. It's a sentence also from Zota Bracha. It's one of the blessings, and right, the last chapter of the Torah, last chapter, Yachad Shiftei Yisrael. Shir Shua Melech, Yosef Yachad Shiftei Yisrael. There's even a song they wrote about. Yachad, when you unify all of the Jewish people all together, then that will accomplish refining all of the different 12 aspects of the land of Israel. Then the whole of Israel becomes refined, revealed godliness in all of the details of the land itself, called pirtei hit chalkut. All of the details include all of the details of the land of Israel, every tree, every rock, every stream. And that eventually spreads out to the whole entire world. Kol olam kulo, the whole entire world was created for the sake of Israel. What does it mean for the sake of Israel? For the sake of us to refine it. Even since that the land of Israel, kolelet, includes, and there is in it, all of the lands of the world. So the job of the Jewish people is to refine themselves, and then by refining themselves, then they can work on their portion in the land of Israel, and then their portion of the land of Israel then can refine the whole world, that the whole world becomes a good, healthy, blessed place, and every human being in it. According to this, we have to understand the reason, namely spirituality, excuse me. Excuse me. That each one of the 12 tribes, each one of the 12 heads of Israel that Moses sent to scout out the land, why each one didn't just go to his portion, to the portion of the tribe that he represented, but they all went together to the whole entire land of Israel. All of them visited each one, each of the portions, all of them. Not just each one went to his own portion. And especially it's known, the blessing, it was already known where each one would live according to the blessings of Yaakov. Before Jacob died, right at the end of the book of Exodus, so Jacob dies, before he dies, he blesses each one of his sons. And to some of them, he tells where their portion of the land of Israel is going to be. He hinted to them. So they knew where their portion was going to be. The land, there was already a portion, but that they didn't know exactly where their portion was going to be. Since Jacob blessed his sons, so everyone knew where his portion was. So it says each tribe, each one of these heads did not just go to his own place when they went to scout out the land of Israel. It would have saved a lot of time. But no, excuse me, all of them together visited each and every one of the portions, even though it wasn't relevant to him personally, to his tribe personally. The Cheor at first glance, Kivin Shavota, so since that this tribe was only in his part, right? The tribe of, take an example of Asher, was only relevant to that part of the land of Asher. It wasn't relevant to everybody else. It must have been pretty boring just to go around to 11 other portions which weren't relevant to you, right? It weren't relevant to you. It's like, a group of 12 people, they all speak different languages. To go and you have to listen, to the same movie, right? in French and in German and in Portuguese and in this. You don't understand it. It's not relevant to you. Why did all of the tribes had to go to 11 portions that weren't relevant to them? Each one should have just gone to his own part. What was the necessity? What was the benefit that all of the tribes together, all of the scouts together, had to go to all of the parts of Israel? How is this relevant to refining the land and that was there? Each tribe could only refine his portion, not the others. Why do they have to see the whole thing? The explanation is simply, excuse me, the Torah, the Oretz, that this effect of each and every one of the heads of the tribes going and seeing the whole entire land of Israel, even portions that weren't relevant to him, Gam Chilik, even of the portions of the other tribes, is mitzad etzivi, because ahavta l'recha kamocha. An essence of the Torah is you must love your others as yourself. Now, God made everyone different. Everyone different. And because everyone is different, so therefore everyone can be suspicious and everyone's selfish. So everyone could be suspicious that probably the other guy is as selfish as I am. But the big difference is he's selfish for himself and I'm selfish for myself. So therefore, we're enemies. If I can get this guy to worry about me like I worry about me, then maybe we can be friends. Or maybe we can have a common goal. If we have a common goal that I don't worry about me and he doesn't worry about himself, but we all worry about this common goal, then we got a chance. Especially we saw this, maybe one of the most blatant examples was in World War II. America was an incredibly bigoted place. I mean, blacks were like treated like, I mean, a little bit better than animals, you know, because they could talk and they could walk, but they had to be in special places. Really, nowadays it's like, you know, it's unconceivable such a thing like that. But anyway, that's what it was. People didn't want to touch the blacks; they didn't want to. But then there came World War II, and World War II, so they were all put together. They were all put together. Still, there was terrible, you know, bigotry, but they were all stuck in together. So they were all stuck in together. It was pretty much the same thing with the Jews, but the Jews, you couldn't immediately tell who was a Jew, right? A black person, you could immediately tell, you could hate him immediately. But the Jew, you had to find out, you know, what's your name? And the Jews changed their names so they wouldn't be. In any case, when they all got thrown in together and they all had a common goal to defeat the enemy, so this broke a lot of how do you say, hatred. Suddenly you realize you could get along with everybody. Suddenly you realize that they were human beings too, because you forgot about yourself. You had a common goal. Okay, when they came back to America, it reverted sort of back to its place, but the ice had been broken. That's the fact. The ice had definitely been broken. It was the same thing over here. All the tribes of Israel, they were all totally different. Jews in general are, you know, there's this theory that the Jews are trying to take over the world. There's this unification. Anybody who knows the Jews will know how ridiculous this is. Jews do not get along together. They do not get along with one another. Every Jew has a different idea, a different opinion, only if they have some sort of a common goal. And it's very difficult to get them into this common goal. I guess that's what they thought. The common goal is to take over the world so they can go. The fact of the matter is just, you'll see that Jews are not united in any sort of common goal. In Israel, there's like, how many political parties there are? I don't know how many there are. But that's because there's a certain number. If you could, every person would be his own political party. Or maybe two people would be in a party. No difference. But nevertheless, it's an essential fact. God purposely made it that way in order to make it difficult and then more, how do you say, more, you have a feeling of accomplishment if you love your others like yourself. You enjoy the differences. Kevin Shekol Yisrael, since all the Jewish people are responsible for one another and all the Jewish people are linked to one another, and all the Jewish people are like one big body. So therefore, all of the tribes had to go together to see each and every one other's part. Even deeper, by means of this unification of all of the tribes of Israel, is stressed that call Nasi, that each one of the leaders of the individual tribes, each one went and scouted out the whole and surveyed the whole entire land. Kulo, this made a refinement of the land of Israel in a higher way. If each tribe only refined his way, his place, so that would have been a refinement. But here we have all the others that weren't relevant to that part of the land. Each one had his own job to do in his own land, in his own portion. But nevertheless, each one forgot about their own portion, and they all came together to help each and every one work. So each person was not alone. They had the power of the other 11 helping them. Liot mitzad va'al yedei dargat, because of this higher level of the unification of the Jewish people, would be above any division and separation of the 12 tribes. This was above any division, like it is drawn down into division. So the unity of the tribes became revealed, reflected in all of the differences of the world, of the land. So the land was all divided up, but the Jewish people were all unified, and they brought this unification into the world. So that's another thing that the scouts of Moses did. In addition to being the first ones in the land of Israel, first ones in the land of Israel, and in addition to coming back with a good report about the fruits, but also they brought unity into Israel. They brought the potential of unity into the world. And then we can understand the connection of the different tribes with the month of Nisan. Let's do this. The connection to the tribes with the month of Sivan. That's the month we're in now. This coming Shabbat will be the last Shabbat in the month of Nisan. That sending these spies was, when did Moses send out the spies? The spies came back on Tisha B'Av, 40 days. They were in the land of Israel. They came back on Tisha B'Av. That's one of the reasons why we fast on Tisha B'Av. We mourn on Tisha B'Av. From that eventually came the destruction of the temple on Tisha B'Av, the first temple, the second temple, Tisha B'Av. That's when they came back. But when did Moses send them out? 40 days earlier, 29th day of Sivan. So they were in Israel the whole month of Tammuz. That's 30 days. And then they were 9 days into the month of Av. And then they were the last day of Sivan. So that adds up to 40. This stresses also that the reading of this Torah portion is always near the end of the month of Sivan. Sivan is the month where God gave the Torah. It's known that the refinement of the world is made in the power and by means of the Jewish people learning the Torah. You want to fix up the world, the only way to do it is through the Torah and the directions of the Torah. In the language of Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and Hasidut, this is what's called Chachma. The power of what's called God's wisdom is refined the world. Chachma, the wisdom of the Torah. Yesh Loma, we can say that because of this, the sending of these scouts, which that's the beginning of refining the world and conquering the land of Israel in the month of Sivan, was sent out in Sivan. Why? Because the Torah was given in the month of Sivan. They came out from the time of the giving of the Torah into the world, the month of Tammuz, into mundane affairs. Sivan is God's affairs, the giving of the Torah. This is the power of the Torah enables them to refine the world. And the Torah was given in the month of Sivan. So therefore we read about the sending of the scouts in the month of Sivan. They were sent out in Sivan because that was the beginning of using the Torah to refine the world, beginning with the land of Israel. Even since they're the Jewish people. And the Torah, they are in general two different levels of unity and division. The Torah, it's known that the Jewish people is the first letters of Yesh, Shishim, Riboy, Osios, B'Torah. There are 60, 10,000, and there's 600,000 letters in the Torah. That's the Jewish people. That every single Jew has an individual letter in the Torah. That from it is drawn the life of that individual Jew. And according to law, there has to be every letter in the Torah separate. If you open up the Torah and two letters are joined together, you have to separate those letters. You have to fix it. You have to fix it. If you don't fix it, the Torah is disqualified. Each one has to be separate. So every Jew has to be separate from every other Jew. Kol ot, every letter has to be separate. But together with this, all of the 600,000 letters in the Torah and the 600,000 souls of Jewish people have to be one. The Torah has to be one. Like a Sefer Torah, that it's when is it kosher? Only if all of the letters together and they're not missing one letter or extra one letter. So we can say that according to this, there's two levels of refining the world. So the Jewish people, every Jew has to be separate, but all the Jews are one. The same thing with the Torah. Every letter has to be separate, but the Torah has to be one. Same thing, there's two ways to refine the world. That the world was created in order that the Jewish people and the Torah should refine it. That's the only reason it was created. Birur mitzad dargat itchalkut. We can refine the world by means of separation of the Torah and the Jewish people, all the details, or a higher level of refining the world, the unity which is in the Torah and the Jewish people. Maybe we can say it in a more simple way. How can we unify the Jewish people? There's two ways. One way is the Jewish people are like one big body, and every Jew, like a human body, is a detail. So therefore, you need every single Jew in order to complete the body. So the differences between each Jew are good. It's good that they're all different, right? It's like having a body that's all eyeballs or all teeth. That's not a body. What type of body is that? Right? You have to have teeth and eyes and ears, and every cell has to be different. And there's nerves and there's vessels, blood vessels. Everything has to be different. The same thing with Jewish people. Every Jew has to be different. Right? The same thing we said with the Torah. Every letter has to be separate. So that's one thing. Let's just take the Jewish people. That's one thing. That's one. Number two, we can say, listen, every Jew is the son of God. That's what it says. The Jews are the single son of God. Every Jew, the Jewish people together, and every single individual. So that means when you look at a Jew, you don't see the differences. You don't see the difference. Oh, a Jew. Ooh, this is that. But the differences don't make. So there's two ways of finding unity. One way is looking at the Jewish people as one big body, and a higher way is looking at the Jewish people from their source. And that will cause unity in the world and refining the world. To explain this, we will do so tomorrow.